Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be finding out if it's possible to make $10,000 in Skyrim without actually going into combat. Money can be really difficult to obtain early on in the beginning of the game. I just basically wanted to see if this was possible. This whole thing took around 1.5 hours. It depends a little bit on how fast you are, and you'll see what the results were at the end of the video. There are a lot of different ways of making money early on in Skyrim that people don't really tend to think about because they're a bit weird. But in this video, we're going to be exploring that. I'm going to start this video outside of Helgen. The only thing that I picked up inside of Helgen were the lockpicks. I do recommend that you pick up the lockpicks. One more thing, we're not going to be using alchemy in this video because alchemy is, of course, extremely strong. It does level you up too, though. That's something to think about. But this is not going to be an alchemy video. I may do that another time. The first thing you want to do once you exit Helgen is head to the unmarked Shrine of Talos. There's always a Thalmor here, and he has some enchanted items that you can sell for some money. After this, you can make your way roughly to Riverwood. You can pick up the Guardian Stones if you want. It's not a big deal. The next thing though, however, is to pick up this Flawless Emerald. A lot of people do know about this, but it is a good source of money early game. But we're not going to sell anything in Riverwood because we essentially want to use Riften to sell off our items. It's going to net us more money overall. Once you get to Riverwood, you can speak to Alvor or whoever you decided to join. Make sure to take his supplies. You can also go inside their house and loot the supplies that don't count as steal. A little bonus thing, you can make friends with Feindal or Sven and loot their house as well. After you're done in Riverwood, remember, don't sell anything to Riverwood just yet. There's not a lot that's going to happen between Riverwood and Whiterun, so we're just going to go into Whiterun. However, once we get inside of Whiterun, there is a lot that is going to happen, and I recommend that you follow my steps pretty closely. The first thing you want to do when you enter Whiterun is find the beggar and give him a coin. Not necessarily for selling things, but this is going to give you higher speechcraft so that you can persuade somebody. After this, talk to Carlotta Valentina, and because you gave the beggar a coin, you can actually persuade Mikael to leave her alone. Go back to Carlotta and she should give you some gold. Next up, head up to the Jarl's Palace and go through the normal stuff. The Jarl should give you steel armor if your heavy armor is higher than your light, and you can sell this off. This is something that you can actually sell off here in Whiterun if you're struggling with your carry weight. But also, before we leave, you need to speak to Farengar and ask him if he's the only wizard in Whiterun. This will give you a quest that's gonna net you another 250 gold. Once you've progressed the storyline, you can exit Dragon's Reach. Go down to Arcadia, give her the salts, and now a lot of the stuff in her shop should be free to loot. We're not doing alchemy in this video in particular, but you can loot some of her health potions and you can loot the alchemy items too. Some of them will be marked as steal though, so be careful. After this, you can head to Riften. Make sure you haven't waited a long time because when you gave the beggar a coin, he gave you enough speech to pass the speech check that you need to enter Riften. Enter Riften and discover it, and then turn around and we're going to the Shrine of Zenithar to get an amulet that's going to give us 10% better prices. This is sort of an unmarked Shrine of Zenithar, but this amulet is going to be really useful. There is one predator here. You will face 2 or 3 predators, but you can just run away from them. So what you do is you want to get on top of this rock here, and the spider is going to spit at you. Expect that. But since you're out of reach of an enemy, they tend to relocate to break the line of sight between you and them. That's what you want to do. Essentially lure him away and pick up the amulet. Jump down and pick up the amulet. Then you want to turn east and you should see a mine icon. That's where you should head for. Inside of here, we're going to pick up a pickaxe and mine some gold. That's pretty much all we're going to do in that mine. Gold can be smelted and made into jewelry. We're going to get a lot of jewelry in this video as well. This mine is also full of ingredients for the future if you want to use those. If you just hug the mountain, you keep it on your left side the entire time, you should avoid all predators, and you should also be able to find the house. We're not actually going inside the house, we're going up this little path up the mountain. But after you make your way up this cliff, there's a book you want to pick up, The Last Scabbards of Akrush. That's going to be really useful. And now you can return back to the city of Riften. Once we get inside of Riften, there's a lot to do here, so try to follow my steps exactly. If you picked up the Amulet of Zenithar, you can put it on now. If you didn't get the blessing of Zenithar when you were by the shrine, you can now get the blessing of the Bella. It's the next best thing. Then you can go outside to Riften and we're gonna do some more business and quests. First off, give the beggar a coin. The beggars in the city usually sit in the same spot always. Then you want to head up to the palace and see if you can find the Jarl's son. He is wearing scaled armor and has red hair. Pick the first option. It's going to give you a very, very fast quest. Now, disclaimer, if you want to do the quest for the Spellbreaker Shield, I don't recommend doing this quest with the Jarl's Son. Go to Balamund, continue with the quest for the Jarl's Son, and return to the Sun. Before you do that though, you can go into Honor Hall Orphanage and just quickly start the quest for the Dark Brotherhood. This is another way to get a decent armor set that's gonna sell for good money. Complete the quest with the Jarl's Son, should be very easy. And he now gives you gems. These gems, if you want, you can smelt them with the jewelry, but keep in mind that this is gonna train your smithing, or you can sell them separately. Sell the gold rings by themselves and then sell the jewelry by itself. When you're ready to begin selling, start by selling things to Balamund, the blacksmith, and then go over to the Argonians. This is if you want to sell off your jewelry, and then Grelka, and then Branche, the dark elf. Once you're done selling, we can go to Markarth. Just head outside to the stables and fast travel to Markarth. We do spend a little bit of money with all these fast travels, but it's definitely worth it because the money that we make in the cities makes up for it. Once in Markarth, find Banning and ask him how long he's been training dogs. This is going to give you a delivery quest to the palace. We are in total going to have 3 delivery quests to the palace. Before you enter the city of Markarth, make sure you make a quick save and equip flames or a very fast weapon so that you can save Margaret. The guards will mostly take care of this guy, but you have to get the first hit in if you want to save the woman. This way, she can give you a reward for it. The city of Markarth does tend to take a while before everybody resets to their position, so you might have to enter and exit a couple of times before the NPCs are all situated in their correct positions. Loot Waylon. He may have some lockpicks on him that can be pretty useful. Find Margaret. She's the one wearing a blue dress, kind of like Ysolda in Whiterun, and she should just give you a silver emerald necklace. Now, again, as is common standard, find the beggar, give him a coin. If you have to exit and enter the city a couple times to again reset everybody, that's okay. After you've given the beggar a coin, we can move on because we're gonna do some persuasion. Head over to the left, over by the smelter, and talk to Omlaug. Just start the quest for him. Because you gave the beggar a coin, you should be able to persuade the orc boss. And then return to Omlaug. They should all be close to each other if it's daytime. He should give you some money. That's a week's wages for him. Go up to the blacksmith, to Gorza. Ask her what's wrong with her apprentice. You want to do all of this in the daytime because you want the NPCs to be in their proper position. Once you've given her the book she asks for, exit the conversation and then enter it again, and make sure she tells you for your help, you can now enter the orcish strongholds. This is going to be very important. After this, go over to the Hag's Cure. Same thing, ask her if you can do a quest for her, basically. That's a unique name. You'll make sure she gets it. And now we can finally head up to the palace. The first time you enter the palace, you should see this priest dressed in orange. Has to do a quest for him too. And head up to the actual position where the Jarl is situated. Right here, you want to talk to the Jarl's steward, the old guy by the right, and give him his delivery. Then you want to go over to the kitchens. This is for the dog food. Find the woman and give her the spiced beef. Now we can go over to Calselmo, give him the stuff from Kira, and then finally, in here in the keep, we can do the Hall of the Dead. The best way to do this is to enter the Hall of the Dead, then turn around, exit the Hall of the Dead, and then enter again. Then you can speak to Aola. Otherwise, she'll be invisible and stuff. This is mainly to just get her out of here. Now, make sure you speak to the priest again, so that he gives you his amulet. This is an amulet of Archaea. You can choose to use it. Early game, it can be decent because it's 25 points of health, or you can just sell it. Alright, so after this, fast travel back to the stables, and we are going to go for a little bit of a walk. We're essentially going to the closest orcish stronghold to Markarth. We've been granted access by the blacksmith, if you remember. There's one random encounter up here. It can be hostile or non-hostile. Usually, I think it is hostile, but because of your low level, they shouldn't be really strong enemies. And there is a wolf here. Flames is really useful against early level predators, or like wolves and crabs. But you do have to save your stamina a little bit and try to outmaneuver this wolf. Drag him over. If he follows you all the way to the stronghold, it's okay because the orcs are gonna help you take care of him. This is why we do it at low level, because it's gonna be a wolf and not a saber cat or a bear. Ask the blacksmith about a sword, and we're gonna continue with that after we go inside here in mine. So in here, ideally, you want to turn at nighttime, but I think the orcs work throughout the entirety of the night. You want to turn at nighttime so that they go home and sleep and you have the mine to yourself. Some of these mines tend to have oil in them, so if you hold out a torch or you have a flame spell in your hand, you can actually blow yourself up and blow up the NPCs as well. So be careful with that. But inside of here, you want to mine all of the orichalcum ore. Once you're done with this, you can sell the orichalcum to the blacksmith. Make sure you pick the option, I have orichalcum to sell. Don't sell it by the normal screen. Then turn around to the northeast and see if you can find a shield icon on your map. This is going to be a little bit of a loot location. Inside of here, the loot is random. This is where I told you to pick up the lockpicks, because there is a chest you have to unlock and a heavy armor skill book, which you can pick up if you're using heavy armor and then sell it again. They have decent value. Outside, there is an expert chest. You can pick this if you want to. Lockpicks, by the way, can be bought at like a lot of merchants' inventories, but they are a little bit expensive this early on. After this, you want to make your way north over to Karthwasten, but we're going to make a little bit of a stop before we go to Karthwasten. You can see where my current location is. This is where we're going to be heading. It's basically where the river sort of turns around. There is a little bit of a secret over here. If you're planning to do the Spellbreaker once again, I don't recommend coming near this location, because you do need a flawless ruby, I believe, and this is one of the better locations to pick up a flawless ruby. So if you're doing the Spellbreaker quest, don't come here. This is an adept locked chest, so I'm going to attempt to lockpick it, and it's random loot once again. Then we want to head to the city of Karthwasten. So here we are at Karthwasten. Since everybody is scripted to be in these locations, make sure you find the orc and give her her mother's sword. She should reward you with some money. Then turn around and go up a little bit of a path here. This is a guaranteed way to always get a black soul gem and some loot. Then we want to head up to the city of Karthwasten and up towards the shrine of Heriite. There is another wolf here that you may have to fight. Keep in mind, whenever you're encountering these animals, you can use your racial power if you have like the orc or the nord or the Khajiit's claw attack, because it does a lot of damage. So you can use the racial abilities that your character starts off with. Not everybody gets something useful against predators, but a lot of people do, like the wood elves animal allegiance. Quickly pick up everything here and loot the chest, and then we can just head back down to Karthwasten so that we can lose the aggro of the wolf. Once you can fast travel, go back to the stables in Markarth, and this time we are going to Windhelm. Go inside the city of Windhelm. We're going to be doing a lot of business here as well. First off, go over to Aventus Aretino's house, lockpick it, and get in. Talk to him, do the whole rigmarole. I've already killed Grelad, all that stuff, and he should give you his family heirloom. Loot his house, remember that. Then you want to head over to Sadri's used ware. It's to the right of the entrance, down a few alleys and stuff. Ask him if nothing in here is stolen. They should start another quest for you to return a ring, basically. This will require you to lockpick an expert lock, but you can quick save, and if you have about 10 lockpicks or so, it should be doable. Go inside the inn and see if you can find somebody called Adonato Liotelli. He usually sits in the second floor of the inn. If you see the beggar at any point here, you can give them a coin just for to do it. Head over to the marketplace and speak to Hiveli Cruel Seas. Make sure you start the quest with her as well. Now we're going inside the house to return the ring for Sadri. Go past the smelter of the blacksmith, and this is Viola's house. It's pretty simple, just the closest drawer, just return the ring, and we are ready to continue. So we're gonna make our way to the palace to deliver something to the wizard. When you enter the palace, make a left immediately and then enter another loading screen. Go straight down the corridor, make a left, and then go all the way down the corridor. That's where you find the wizard in his laboratory. Now we can head back outside. So fast travel to the stables, and we are going to Kynesgrove. It's a little house or village icon you can see on the map. Here in Kynesgrove, we're going to be doing a lot of mining, like a lot of mining. The first place we're going to be doing this is in Steam Scourge Mine. Once again, once you get inside the mine, you can turn it nighttime so that people go home and you don't accidentally mine on them, or if they're mining a rock, you can't mine it, stuff like that. Mine everything in here, and then if you turn east and walk up the hill a little bit, you should be able to see on your icon another mine icon as well as an Orcish stronghold icon. Head for that mine icon. Remember, we are welcome in Orcish strongholds because we get the book for Gorza. In Gloombound Mine, there is a lot of ebony ore, very valuable, so make sure to mine it all. Once again, careful with flames and a torch because there is some oil in some mines. It's very important that you're thorough in this mine. It's gonna net you a lot of money. When you're done mining the ebony and potentially the iron, you can go outside, make it daytime to respawn the orc blacksmith, and then sell him ebony ores with the option I have ebony ores to sell. Now, if you turn southeast, you should see a dwarven ruin icon on your minimap. Try to hug the left mountain once again to avoid predators, but we're basically going to that dwarven storeroom and getting some free loot from that place as well. There's a chest up here right before you get to the entrance, and then head inside the dwarven storeroom. You will have to pick 2 apprentice locks here. There's a lot of dwarven scrap metal that can be turned into dwarven ingots. You can see they're worth 30, but you do need the dwarven perk, I think, or maybe you don't need the dwarven perk. You can pick up those if you have the room too. This is a pretty useful weapon, can be good for 200 characters. Now we can go back to any stable and then fast travel to Falkreath. Try to find this guy in leather here, mining wood, chopping wood, and ask if you can start a quest with him. He's gonna give you something to deliver to the priest of Falkreath. Once you're done with that, you actually need to sleep in a bed. The easiest way to do this is to go to Riverwood and then turn to your right, and there should be some beds there. If you've done everything correctly with the Dark Brotherhood, you should be teleported to the abandoned shack, go through the dialogue with Astrid, and the person you want to take out of the 3 is the one to the left. He has the most valuable armor, and because you started the Dark Brotherhood, you're gonna pick up some decent light armor that's gonna be better than this one, so you can use this one for selling. Talk to Astrid. Once she releases you from the abandoned shack, you have to move around in a certain direction. For me, it worked coming over here to the river to allow me to fast travel, because there are some predators and slaughterfishes and stuff like that in the area. Now you can enter the Dark Brotherhood, and in here there are a few things that you can loot. Alteration skill book, another set of the Dark Brotherhood armor, and you get your own set of the Dark Brotherhood armor with Astrid. That we need to speak to here in Solitude is watching the stuff go down. It's this guy here with the black hair and I guess the yellow shirt or whatever. You do kind of have to wait for the execution to be over. So maybe enter the inn and just make everybody relocate. It's kind of like Markarth, where you have to sort of wait for everything to be settled with the NPCs before you can actually speak to them. But you want to talk to this guy, Sorex Vinius, and then you're going to follow your marker for the quest of Adenato Leotelli, whatever his name was. Put a marker on that quest so that he can guide you to the person you need to deliver the book to. He can be in the inn or he can be in the Bard's College. Once you get to talk to Sorex Vinius, he's going to give you a quest to go to the Blue Palace and talk to the Jarl's steward. Now granted, when you walk into the Blue Palace, once again, stuff is unfolding and you have to wait for everybody to become situated and the dialogue options to stop. Complete the quest with Folk Firebeard and you should be good to go. And now once you've done all of these quests, you're basically ready to sell your items off. I like to do this in Riften. Make sure you have the Amulet of Zenithar on. Make sure you get the blessing of the Bella inside Helga's bunkhouse, and make sure you give the beggar a coin. And yeah, once again, start off by selling things off to the blacksmith. Now you can actually sell those malachite ores because you have better speechcraft, and make your way around the market. You should have a lot of gems and a lot of just jewelry and weapons and enchanted stuff. Sell whatever you don't need of the Dark Brotherhood armor, the stuff that you're not going to be using, or everything if you're using a warrior type character. You may have to reset the NPC's inventory by waiting 48 hours or something like that, because you could potentially have too many things to sell them. That was like 10,000 gold, and you barely had to do any combat. Like, you basically just ran away from like 2 wolves and stuff. So yeah, hopefully you found this useful. This doesn't even give you that many like levels. Other than a little bit of levels in speech, it doesn't really give you a lot of levels. I believe my character ended up being level 2 or so. So you have 10k gold and you haven't really, had to level up alchemy or enchant or like anything that like is gonna level your character a lot, essentially. And yeah, we reached our goal. So we actually went over 10k. That was pretty good. This whole thing took about 1.5 hours, but we also prepared a lot of quests and stuff like that. So not only did we get gold, but we also started quests and prepared our character for continuing with the game. This is not a bad way to like start off your game at all. Thank you for watching. Like the video, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.